Good evening. I'm not gonna talk long. I want to just do a short little video about why I'm never gonna have children. You never know what could happen. God forbid, something could happen. But it's not my intention at this point to have children. And I'll talk about why. I think partly my mother raised me with certain ideas about how a man is supposed to treat a woman and the way things are supposed to be done. And I love my mother. I thank God for her for giving me boundaries and stuff like that. But I now believe that some of what she told me when I was a kid, it's not feasible. It's not realistic unless you're rich. And like I said, that's one of those things you can't really blame on a parent, because that was, she was college educated and she had made her money working in corporations. So that's just the way she felt, and that's the way the way things kind of moved and shook for her. The way the world spun for her. All soldiers don't join infantry. Everybody that joins the Air Force doesn't fly jets. Everybody in the Navy doesn't jump on ships. Doesn't mean, sometimes I think I should have. I kind of regret, it's like a deep regret. Sometimes I worry my mother would be embarrassed of what I've become. And then sometimes I think to myself, and I'm like, I could have been a lot worse. I could have been a lot worse. And I'm a good man. I like to believe I am, at least. I think that the world is a lot more unstable now than it ever was before. I think that people like Trump are indicative of this American arrogance. This idea that the world moves for America and not that America is a part of the world. Does that make sense? And so to me, I see the world getting a lot more unstable. I do believe in climate change. I do believe it to be a serious issue, a monumental difficulty, of monumental significance in my lifetime. My brother believes it's something in his daughter's lifetime. I don't believe that, because we're seeing the weather the way it's working now. We're seeing the way the weather is now. It's just breaking all kind of records all the time. All these tornadoes and stuff in the Midwest and flooding and stuff, and it's going to depend on whether people recognize it and prepare for it or not. I guess it's kind of like how I talk about I'm done with talking about race with white people. It's the same thing when it comes to climate change. It's the same thing when it comes to America's government, the West's government, becoming more and more stable over time. The Atlantic treaties being broken, the treaties broken, the Iran deal, the climate deal, Trump attacking NATO. These are all symptoms of a deeper malady, and these are all milestones. Can I say that? They're all milestones in a journey that I just see America go off the tracks. Whether and sometimes I worry that we keep talking about how there's going to be this big shift. People won't want Trump. He won't get reelected. And sometimes I think that won't happen. Sometimes I really think to myself that Trump is the beginning of this, the Dominion age. I keep calling it what Sessions called the Trump era. That's what I call it, the Trump era. And that's basically what it's basically about. It's keeping black and brown people terrified. Very simple. It's just keeping black, brown people in their place and terrified. I heard something today about these people were they left a Family Dollar and they were in their car, and as the daughter had walked out of the store with a doll, and police came out there pointing the guns in the car and didn't identify themselves, talking about shoot you in the head, got in the car and all that, and the video showed them slamming the guy against the car and all this kind of stuff. It's just brutality, animalistic brutality. And I think that's more indicative of the era we're in. Because I think that police officers operate kind of at the whim of the commanders, that certain things are kind of tacitly accepted. And there's certain departments that don't put up with that bullshit. You go out here and you cuss people, you use profanity and things like that, you're going to face significant punishment. They're not going to put up with that shit. You know, I don't care where you're at. And they will investigate complaints. There's certain areas that will, certain areas that are kind of like, yeah, that's wrong, but proof's in the pudding. You see, you know. This is the Trump era, or I call it the Dominion era. And when I refer to that, I'm referring to this era of Christianity running the show, white men at the center of things, women and black people pushed out, cussed out, disrespected on a constant basis. You know, just basically wanting to go back to a bygone era that wasn't good for black people back then. That's how you know it's really racist when they say make America white again. Make America great again, excuse me. Because America was never great for black people or brown people. It never was. It never was. Never, not once, was it great for black people. You know, and Candace Owens, I seen something today, I might not even watch it, evidently said something about black people were richer after Civil War than before the welfare stuff came in. Well, yeah, because we had our own stuff. Listen, she's gonna put her foot in the mouth again. Before last time she said something about the Jews. This is gonna be about somebody else. What happened? They made her resign from her little organization, current Turning Point. Well, we had our own stuff, and I think that we understood what white people were. I think that when you do so much struggling to be accepted by a Caucasian, I think you lose a bit of yourself. Or I think, I really do. It's like, I don't know, it's like having a business or something. You lose a bit of yourself in trying to build it because it's so important to you. And I understand what Dr. King was saying. Like I told, what's his name yesterday, I understand what Dr. King did, and I respect him for it. But, you know, they weren't afraid of Dr. King. Dr. King's message was, let's lay out on the street, let them beat the hell out of us. Let's just keep doing things that we should be able to do anyway, and they're going to beat the hell out of us, but eventually the world will see it's wrong. I'm like that dude, that Nation Islam guy. I'm like, I don't see how that helps us. I don't see how to help black people. But the world knew what was going on in the South. The world knew what was going on at that time. Most of it, at least. The important parts did, at least. I don't think, you know. But can't say, you know, hindsight's always 20/20, as they say. Neely Fuller says that we don't have the authority to question other oppressed peoples, and that basically we should never go out here and publicly question other black people. That if someone says something, we should just say that's what they said, but don't attack them. And I'm getting to the point to where that's what I do. When it comes to black people, I don't do that, you know. Unless it's to a black person or something privately, I just don't do it. I just don't do it. You know. White folks like that. Yeah. They're fighting against each other and chaos and all that. They do. They really do. You know. Anyway, thinking about Kanye for a second. He had all them kids and got all that money and talking about it's a sunken place. Well, you know, got a nice house, got a nice woman and everything, but if you're not right in the head, if you're not well here, I wouldn't give this up for any amount of money in the world. Because to me, when this is not on track, it's your essence. It's not right. You know, there's been a lot of people who've been in the spotlight who have done crazy stuff. Martin Lawrence did stuff back in the day. Mariah Carey done some dumb stuff. You know, crazy stuff, excuse me. You know, it happens, okay? I'm not judging people who have, you know, breakdowns. But I think that the Kanye thing, you know, Alex Jones says, oh, he's got it, he woke up. No, that's not what. I think that really shows you that when you're black or you're brown or whatever, and you're not mentally well, they'll use you. They don't care. White, I think that's the real message with the Kanye thing to the black people is that if you're black and you don't have knowledge of self, the white man will use you. Oh yeah, he'll use you. Maybe it might even benefit you, but I wouldn't do that. Like even if Kanye said stuff that I agreed with, let's say Kanye was out here talking about reparations or talking police brutality, or talking about things like that. And I started noticing that he had signs of schizophrenia, or he's talking to himself, or being forgetful. You know, just signs of mental unease. Dude, I would get him help, man. I wouldn't want him to go on the camera, even if I want to make clear, even if Kanye was saying things that I agree with, and 90% of the black community right now agreed with, I would still say, dude, I'm gonna get you some help, man. But you gotta do this, man. And then later, I don't care if you're a conservative or you're gay or I don't care about none of that stuff. I would never use a person for politics who's not mentally well. Because to me, that's unethical. That's like using another person's money. That's unethical. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna be like, hey man, I want you. That's like having sex with a drunk woman. It's like going out and having sex with a person that's drugged or drunk. They can't give consent. Let's say your wife or something. They can't give consent. These guys talking about women say, "Oh, you raped me." A part of me is like, dude, why did you mess with her? You should have known. You should have known that could happen. Why'd you do that? Getting off subject. We are subject. My thing is that, to me, the world is becoming a lot more unstable. Not the world I grew up in, the racism and just a lot of the general phenomena that I witness on a real day-to-day basis. I wouldn't want to raise children in it. I don't have money to do where I want. I'm not quite where I want to be in the world right now that maybe I should be. Okay. So it is what it is. I'm not quite where I think I should be in my life, and hopefully that'll change. Hopefully things will get better. But going out here and meeting some harpy and raising my seed in an American wasteland, I just not really interested in that, man. Maybe I'll really regret that. Maybe one day I'll say, damn, I should have got a nice girl and had babies. Maybe so. Maybe I'll regret it. But I just, I've seen where society's going, everything about, and not just Charlotte, not just the big cities, not just the fact that I'm living in the South. I hate the South. God, every time, like every day, I think about California in some way or another. It's like I think about somebody else in my life I used to have that I fucked up. Hopefully one day that, we can go back somewhat, or used to have. Hopefully that can happen again, but I wanted to do stupid stuff and I lost the person I loved the most. Happens. It happens, man. But anyway, one of those kind of things. I just feel like if you're raising, like I was just raised, supposed to have money put away and have a social net. And then as I get older, I'm not sure I want to even live in America. You know what I mean? I'm really not. Like I'm not financially where I should be, but I'm just not even sure I want to live here. I'm not. Straight up on the real, I mean that. The older I get, the more I realize I don't really belong here. I never really did. Never really did. So, I don't know. Peace, y'all.